What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. I made a video earlier today talking about it a little bit, giving an update because we had a little pump going on, so I wanted to weigh in on that. What I thought, I did say ultimately I thought that we would turn lower from here, but I made my video. I want to say it was around on this candle here. I think it was on this candle, and I said that I was expecting another move up. I was expecting like we could go down or go up. I didn't really say like anything, I guess one way or another. But I did say, I mean, you can check my video even. There's a part, I want to say it's like somewhere around like 11 minutes in or like 12 minutes in, something like that, where I say if we were to go higher from here, we would likely form bearish divergence. If we could close above 285, that might negate the bearish divergence, which we did not close above 285. I said that I wouldn't expect to move above 300. I definitely above 300, and I said I would be surprised if we moved above 290. I was thinking somewhere around 285. We actually went to 288 or 287. It looks like. And I'm only talking about this right now because I'm patting myself on the back a little bit. I feel like I kind of called this move pretty accurately, but I wasn't trading it. I wasn't convicted in my call. I was saying in the midst of it too that we could go down, but nonetheless, I feel like in that video, if you see it around, like I said, around like the 11-minute, 12-minute mark, maybe 13 minutes even, I talked about this exact scenario kind of playing out. This exact scenario where we have bearish divergence on the 1 hour playing out. And if we look at the 1 hour, the reason I thought that we could go higher is because we had this higher low formation, this higher high. We looked like we were in it, right? At the moment, you can see if we were to draw a line here, right, something like this on these lows, we've broken out of this range. This little uptick that we had, it's done now. It's done. The move's done. And to mark that, what a beautiful mark to end it. Bearish divergence, classic bearish divergence in the overbought zone. That's a signal and a half right there. And then, of course, on the 4 hour, we had a bearish engulfing candle too. And it looks like we rejected this area where we've rejected before, here and here. So, I feel like that was an expected kind of area to bottom out or to top out at. I even said here that this didn't really look like a top over here, but here we are topping. And I think as we formed lower highs and lower lows, all we've got now is to form our next lower low. So I think we're going to do that. I do think we're going down from here. On the daily, we did have a bullish engulfing candle, but this might be the most bearish bullish engulfing candle other than this one, that we've seen in a while. And the reason I say that is because this wick on this candle is bigger than the body. We had a nice move up, but not really. Not really. It looks somewhat nice on the daily, right? You went above the last 2 days worth of price action, but on the 4 hour, you can really see how just not. This isn't a bullish pump. This is a bearish pump because we have lower highs. We're just still continuing this trend in this little like channel here. And someone, who was it? John, Joe. I forget who it was. I want to say it was John or Joe. I forget the name, but it's like, fuck, I forget, man. I forget. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name right now, man. But oh man, let's see if I can find it. John Binky. You're talking about this massive bull flag that we're in, and we really could be in a bull flag. Like, I mean, I see what you're seeing, right? Like this here we are. You got your little flag, right? And then here's your flag pole, right? This could be a massive bull flag. And the thing is, with a bull flag, it doesn't have to stop here. It can go lower. In fact, I'm pretty sure the rules with the flag, I forget, it's one of two. It's one of these two things. So with a bull flag, the flag itself cannot be bigger than the pole, or maybe it's that the flag itself can't be bigger than 50% of the pole. I forget which one it is. I'm going to say 50%, and I would say not from bottom here, but from right here. This is the pole, right? So it's 294 pixels at this range. If I change it, the numbers change, but at this resolution, okay, now it's at 310, whatever, 310. So as long as this, I mean, let's just put it in perspective, like we could go down to 167, and this is still, I guess that's not halfway, is it? Let's see, we're like it'd be like 155 technically. 155 would be at 221. You could go that low, and this could still be a bull flag, right? If it was closer, if we had a dump like today or tomorrow, if we had a pretty like sizable dump at 155, that's about that's out about half the pole. You know, that could move us. Why is it not letting me click? Well, it's at like 215, something like that, which is kind of at the top of this little pitter-patter range, which, again, in my video that I made earlier, I identified an area that kind of looked very similar to what we're experiencing on the RSI right now. And in that area, we continued higher after bottoming just above the 382, which, lo and behold, this is right above the 382. So this could be a massive bull flag. It really could be. And I don't think that it's bottomed yet. I don't think it's done. I don't think it's ready to break out just yet. But even if it becomes invalidated and it goes lower than that, like this is still overall this is bullish behavior that we're experiencing. It might not be a bull flag, but it can still perform very well after it finds its low. But I mean, at the moment, yeah, man, I would say this is a very valid flag. It definitely looks like a flag. Like there's no denying it there in my opinion. And if it was a flag, if it was indeed a flag, and we did bottom, let's say we bottomed around like 215 on this flag, or even 220, whatever. The pole started forming here. So if we took this and we put the bottom of it, this is how you measure the move, by the way. If you ever want to do it yourself, again, I'm not using the bottom here to the top because the flagpole itself, I don't think that's all of it. I think the flagpole itself started here. And I think it's better to be conservative than to be overestimating, right? Because that way you at least catch the move. You're not adding that little bit extra, expecting it to be there when it just never comes. This, even if that little extra does come, at least you're going to catch your expectations. So if you put this, you measure that, and you put it to the bottom of where the bottom is, right, where we turn around, there's two different ways to measure it. Some people I put it at the bottom, like where we would bottom, which let's say it was at like 215 area. This would put us at a price of $683, just below $700, with the potential to go higher than that. And it doesn't have to go that high. That's just the target, but I would expect it would go high or higher with this kind of behavior going on. Some people would say that that's where you would put it. Other people, I'm gonna switch off the info line here. Info line, trend line from top here. If this was a flag and we kind of continued going down in this methodical way, some people would measure it from the break of the flag. Some people say from the bottom. Some people say from the break. You see where I'm like determining this, right? So if we did bottom around 215 and then we came up, we would probably break it around like 260, 250, something like that. That would move this target to about $800. So that's a $100 difference. So depending on how you cut it, regardless, it's very bullish if this is indeed a bull flag. And even if it's not a bull flag, man, even if we do, I mean, we could go down here. We really could. I don't think we're going to, but we could go lower than that. Even if we do that, I think those same prices are still in play, like regardless. But in traditional TA, yes, it would be nice, I think, to see a kind of bull flag if you're looking for bullish continuation. And at the moment, it definitely does look like a bull flag. I definitely agree on that. But again, at the moment, I am bearish. Going back to the 4-hour, we rejected this area that we've rejected a bunch of times. And not soon after rejecting this area did we go below the 50, right? And anytime you go below the 50, the bears are in control. It looks like we're actually about to go below the 50 now. If this 4-hour in the next hour and 2 minutes can close here, this would actually look somewhat good because we could be in a position to bounce off the 50. But if we close lower than this, and I think we will, because we have this bearish engulfing candle on the 4-hour here. Not to mention, this bearish engulfing candle, when did it happen? It was the last 4-hour candle of the day. In my opinion, that's a significant. It's more significant than this one, than this. You know what I mean? Like, they might all have the same significance. Who really knows? But to end the day with a bearish engulfing candle, I think that's significant, and I would expect that this candle probably does, by the end of the close, break through this 50, and that would be ultimately bearish in my opinion too. To take things up a notch too, you've got a higher high in the RSI here. You have a lower high in price. This is classic hidden bearish divergence. and I actually made some comments on my Twitter page. If you guys are ever wondering, like, if you want an update, if stuff's happening, like, I'm watching the charts too, man. So just because I'm not making a video doesn't mean I'm not aware. Like, I was watching that pump happen, that, little pump up to 287. I was watching that happen, and I actually posted, 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago, I was saying we got the move up. I was semi-expecting blah, blah, blah. Here after the move, this was like still toward the top. I was thinking that this was the relative high. Hidden bearish divergence presenting itself on the 4 hour. That's exactly what I was just talking about. And then here, right, we've got the bearish divergence on the 1 hour. It's not as detailed as these videos are going to be. You're not going to get all of it. But if you follow me on Twitter, at Chris Harris 85, that's me. BT Chris, BTCHRIS, that's me. I have 61 followers now. I do not have a blue check mark. It's not a scam. This is what I look like. And I don't think I'm big enough to be scammed. So I mean, this is just what it is. I used to have long hair, man. Look at that. Look at that glorious long hair. Anyways, back to the charts, guys. Back to the charts, and it looks like we are moving a little bit lower. Not too much. Maybe not. We're not moving lower at all, I guess. I don't know. We still have an hour left. I think that we will move lower. Let's see on the hourly. Actually, we just broke below the 50 on this hourly. Yeah, man. I think that we might be seeing that dump today. I think we really might. If not today, like, it's coming. I think it's coming. And it might not be a dump. It might not be a dump. If this does actually end up being a bear flag, it'll be somewhat methodical. We'll be in this kind of range here, playing off of these levels, just going down, and then eventually break out to or I said bear flag, sorry, bull flag. If it is a flag, we're not going to have some kind of dramatic, like, which at the moment, to be fair, I am expecting more of a dramatic move down, something that is going to be a little bit quicker, less methodical than a flag, but it could happen, Time will tell, and the longer that it stays in this formation, the better it will look. The less convinced I'll be that it's going to go down here, and the more convinced I'll be that, hey, man, maybe I should buy this. It's going to be, but at the moment, again, I'm not anticipating that. I would like to see the RSI be at lower levels before I even think about buying. So I'm not doing that now. I'm not considering that now. I am waiting for lower prices one way or another. I guess we're moving up. It was up a little dollar. I don't know. Maybe we don't break this 50 on the 4 hour. I don't know. I'm better with longer term than I am with shorter term anyways. Sometimes I get lucky on the short term, but ultimately, guys, I do think that we're going to go down. Story has not changed. Narrative has not changed. If you take the bottom to high here on this fib, if you want to do it yourself, you can do it yourself. Go to TradingView, type in BCH, USD. I'm using the Coinbase chart. That's this one, right? You've got a whole list of charts you can use. I'm using the Coinbase one. You click on this over here. You can double click it. You have all your tools. I use the fib retracement tool. Click bottom to top. Yours won't look like this. It'll look a little bit different, but you will have the 618 and all that stuff. And the way I have mine set up, if you click the bottom right here, you can click logarithmic or out of logarithmic. You see how if I click out of logarithmic, the 161 or the 618's at 182, but if I'm in logarithmic, it's at 148. I like to be in logarithmic, not because it gives me a lower price, but that's how I've always used the charts. To me, it makes more sense. I mean, if we look at it on a monthly basis, right, we zoom it out. If I'm to take this thing out of logarithmic, it looks like a whole different chart. And the reason for this, I'm sorry I'm getting on a tangent, but for those of you who don't know, who aren't aware, the reason why when you use logarithmic, it looks a little bit more nice, right? It looks a little cleaner, is because it like, what's the word I'm looking for? Molds the candles to an appropriate ratio of the growth and decrease that it sees. Here's what I mean. Let me explain. Okay, so like if you're at $1 and you move up $1, that's a $1 move. But you're at $2 now. You moved up from $1. You moved up $1 to $2. It's a $1 move, but it's a 100% gain. 100% gain. Let's say now that same asset years later it's worth $100, and now you have a $100 asset that moves up $1. That's a 1% gain. On a non-logarithmic chart, that $100 to a $1 move, it's going to look the same as the $1 to the $2 move would. It would look the exact same. On the logarithmic, it compresses it, it rationalizes it to fit the appropriate like proportion of the percentage. I'm using a bunch of words, I'm sorry. But basically, you know what I mean? Like it it would make the candles more appropriate to the move. So you wouldn't have the same size candle for that $1 move. You would have a candle, if you're at $100 and you move to $1, you wouldn't have the same candle size as you would from 1 to 1. It would be smaller. It would fit 1%. Or if you're in a non-logarithmic scale, they would be the exact same size. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's the best that I can do to explain it. I'm sorry if I suck at explaining it, but it didn't make sense to me much at first either. But I guess it might be one of those things you have to use more. Just look up more yourself, and you'll be able to figure it out. But it basically rationalizes it by percentages. I guess it makes it look nice, because if you have cryptos, if you have stocks that are old and that have moved between like large ranges, I think putting it in log scale, I think it does help, honestly. Some people don't use log. They think that it's bad. I use log. I think it's good. And with that, going back to what I was saying a second ago, with this fib here, if you click on your fib, if you want to make it look like mine, I know a lot of them, whenever they come out, they have this background. You can see like it puts like these lines in. I take my background and I put it here so that all you've got is the lines. You don't have the background. I don't like the background. I have a bunch of different levels in there too. You can just make that all yourself. A lot of them become unclicked whenever you first do it, but you can activate them or deactivate them. You don't need all these lines, but what I'm trying to get to is, if you're in a logarithmic scale, make sure you check on your fib that you are also fib levels based on log scale, because it comes automatically not based on log scale. So I would base it on the log scale. That's how I do it. A little bit of a side note there, not really anything to do with BCH, but just so you guys know, like if you want to do this yourself and you're like, man, I'm drawing the same exact fib and I can't for the life of me get the same numbers. Well, there you have it. Put it in log. Make sure that your fib is based on log scale too, because that's how I do it. And that's how some people do it. That's how some people don't do it. You can do it if it works, it works, man. You don't have to be in log. If it works, it works. If you find more success in a traditional chart, not in a logarithmic chart, go for it. Don't let me stop you, man. Like, I find more success personally in a logarithmic chart. I'm sure I could find some success in it, but I like the way it looks more too. If it makes more sense to me. It makes more sense to me to base it off of the percentages, the growths, than to have it based on the price point itself. Because again, what happens if you have a $1 asset? It moves $1. Now that asset's worth $100 and it moves $1. If it's not in log, it's going to look like the same move, but it's a whole different move. It's an entirely different move, percentage wise, and that's why I think log is important. Little tangent there, and I went on that tangent because I'm about to say the same stuff that I've been saying, which is that I think ultimately we're going to go somewhere around 135 to about like 175, 180, somewhere in there, 135 to 180. I know that's a big range, but we're dealing with a big move here, so it really could bottom anywhere. And as the days go on, as we kind of get more familiar with this fib, we haven't really done anything with this fib yet, so I don't know too much to make of it, right? We haven't touched the 236, which is not normal. You at least touch the 236, so I would at least expect that we go there. But we've been in this range, again, short of a methodical move down and kind of maintaining this flag-like structure. Other than that, I would expect that if we go below the 236, we're going to make a straight move to the 382. But we might not. Rejecting the 0.069 is really the only significance that we found on this fib. And the 0.069 isn't even a fib level itself. It's a level that I was like, okay, this is funny. Let's see if it works. And it actually works. 0.069, the 0.69 level, I find them both to be respected. That's why they're on my chart. I don't just do it because I think I'm silly. I did it originally just because I was like, whatever, let's see if this actually works. And I've left them on there for a reason, because I have found significance. And look at it, and then, the proof's in the pudding. We literally rejected it. It's not the first time that I've shown fibs that reject the 0.069 or the 69 level. It won't be the last time. Anyways, all that off-topicness, all that stuff to say, looking at the daily RSI too, we have that rejection. It looks like a rejection. We didn't close the day red. It did come up, but that, so what? Whatever. It can still go lower. You don't need to make a move straight up or straight down. You can work your way down, right? It can be jagged, whatever. But I do think we're going to go lower. I think we've got this bearish divergence on the daily. We're out of the overbought zone. We rejected the overbought zone. We pumped up dramatically, and we haven't seen a relative fib being hit yet, which is just not normal. To me, it wouldn't make sense to go, to go up higher from here. I think we do want to go lower. And beyond just the fib itself, I think the RSI being this hot for this long, I think it needs to cool off more. Personally, that's what I'm thinking. So the targets again that I have, they're the same targets. They haven't moved. It's in between 180 180 and 135. That's kind of where I expect this thing to go. And again, that's just more of the same stuff. So I think with that, I'm going to end this video. I know it was a quick one today, but I'm sorry, I keep coughing, man. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.